everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Laqwanda. Welcome back to Laqwanda's Heart. And this is the spiritual convo series for Black non-Christians. And tonight I want to talk about finding where you belong spiritually. Finding where I belong spiritually has been probably one of the most unique journeys that I have experienced while navigating this space of life. From the moment that I had awareness, my spirituality seemed to have been predetermined for me by adults who said, okay, this is the household that you were brought in. This is the religion that you were, that we grew up with. This is what we're going to teach you. And so the choice of having religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs was molded by the beliefs of my parents, which isn't really out of the norm for people, which I wish it was, but you know, we are ingrained from a younger age to accept the beliefs of those who reared us. And so I was brought up in what you would call the church, and in a Pentecostal upbringing, and I dwelled into that a lot, and some of that just didn't sit well with me, and it never sat well with me. And I would ask questions, and I would look at other belief systems and other religions, and I would say, this, you know, why is this and why is that? And you were taught not to question and to believe in the higher power, and anything outside of this set of beliefs was of an evil nature. I'll say of an evil nature. And so when I began to question whether or not I belonged in this particular religion set that was identified, that when I identified as Christian, you know, I started with self-exploration about what I wanted my belief system to mean to me. What did I want the origin of my belief system to mean to me? And I say that in terms of, did I want my belief system to be based upon what slave masters taught slaves when they were taken from the continent of Africa and brought here to the shores of what became America? Did I want my spiritual belief systems to have that story of origin, to where there was a culture that existed and it was stripped away from a people and replaced with their owners and masters' belief system? And for me, that didn't sit well with me. And there were other things that didn't sit well with me. And I know that people say, well, I interpret things for myself now. Well, that's not me. I had come to a point to where that force-fed narrative of, to be a person of color, to be a Black person, that you had to conform to Christianity, just didn't resonate with me as I grew and began to explore and understand the world for myself. Also, what did not sit well with me, you know, was the whole rigidness and structure of things, and the lack of welcoming environments where people would welcome you, but you were only welcomed because they thought there was something about you that needed to change and needed to conform to who they were. I would be welcomed as a queer woman, but only because they believed me being queer was a sin, so that they could convert me and change me to a side of holiness that they represented and identified within their own terms. And that all bothered me. Um, and so when I began to step outside of that belief, I initially went to, instead of the more structured denominations within Christianity, I went to non-denominational entities to be spiritually fed. And that was satisfying for a while because it wasn't this rigid procedural thing that took place. And now it is very, very important for me to look back over that journey and saw how I began to take control of my spirituality. And for me, that was what was finding my space, my place spiritually meant for me. It was meaning that I was taking over the narrative of what spirituality meant to me and where I wanted that to reside. And because of that, I don't teach my child spiritual things like my parents taught me. I don't teach her, you have to do this and you have to do that, and this is a sin and that is a sin. I don't teach her those things that are based in religion. I teach her those things that are, we talk about things being morally sound, things being right, being just, so that she can develop as a good person and a good person who can seek out spirituality for herself, because I really want her to define and grow and grasp onto a belief system that is important and meaningful to her, and it is uniquely hers. It's not something that I have chosen for her. And so I wanted to give that ownership of her spiritual journey back to her, so that she could grow into her own, and that she can ask me for ask me for guidance, and I can provide some guidance, but still allowing her to take the reins of her spiritual wellness and spiritual beliefs. That was very, very important to me, because that's something I did not have. And back onto finding belongingness, when I transitioned to the non-denominational portion of Christianity, I felt that more of a connection to my spiritual self, but I still wrestled with issues that just didn't seem right, that bothered me when it came to that particular faith. And I had began to step back from calling myself a Christian, began to step back from saying that I believed in this and I believe in that, because it just wasn't a reflection of who I was internally, and I could feel it. And so as I pushed back and who I was internally began to manifest itself, I realized that who I was really had absolutely nothing to do with the faith that my parents had taught me. And I began to look for a faith that was a better reflection of me. And I think when you're finding your spiritual self and who you are spiritually, that's what you're looking for. You're not really trying to diminish or discredit someone else's belief system. You're really trying to find the belief systems that fits best with who you are within. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying your truth in terms of what you believe and what you don't believe. I am an advocate of people saying this is who I am and this is who I will be. Because I'm an advocate of saying this is who I am and not who I should be based upon these written man-made rules, in my view. And so I truly sat down with myself and started to seek, where do I belong and where do things fit for me. And through a lot of meditation and self-reflection, Buddhism came to me, and that's where I was drawn to. And it felt so good to hear from the universe, to hear from my ancestors, this is where you belong. And I became grateful for that. But that is an internal process and an internal journey that, if spirituality is something that is important to you, that you have to go on that journey and do self-reflection and find out what is best for you. Buddhism is where I landed, but even in that, I had to find, or I was in search of, a community who would accept me as a Black queer woman, and me not having to hide any aspect of who I was, as I did for years as a member of the Christian faith, due to fear of backlash and discrimination and people trying to, in the faith that I was in, place you on the altar and rebuke what's within you. And it was important for me to find that connection. When I've looked in several places, and I actually had a beautiful experience where someone had invited me to a meeting of theirs. And one of the first things that, they told us, like, we're very welcoming. We're very welcoming, and you'll find members of, all communities within us. And that is the spirit that I operate in. My partner, my partner is Christian, and I am not. But I respect his beliefs, and he has a respect for mine. And and so to have someone who was saying that we are a welcoming group, we are reflections of the true reflection of society, where there's people of all walks of life, people of all cultures, people of all sexual orientations, and it's a non-judgmental environment. That is how I operate. And so my spirituality had to be a reflection of that. And so I'm still learning about this particular group, this particular discipline of Buddhism. And when I am more versed, I am going to invite the woman who invited me to join us here on the channel, and we will talk about this particular discipline of Buddhism, to share with all of you who want to know about where I land in terms of spirituality. And as I shared about things when I was identified as a Christian, I want to also share things as I identify with Buddhism. So I would say any journey to finding your place spiritually and where you are spiritually begins with finding who you are. You need to find and go on, I would say, not need to, but for me, I went on a journey of finding out who I truly was and who I truly was not. And when I had answers, or some of the answers to those two questions, I was better capable and better able to find the better spiritual fit for myself. And I don't look at the current discipline of Buddhism that I am learning about or interested in as a one size fit all, or it is this extreme answer, or not necessarily extreme answer to everything, that I will walk this life of perfection. You know, I didn't think that with Christianity. I don't think that. I think that now. But I think that it is the better fit for the reflection of who I am now. And so going on a journey to know who you are and who you are not, and then really sitting with excuse me, and learning what is the better fit for who you are, so that you can grow within yourself spiritually. So until next time, thank you all for watching. Thank you for everyone who has been supportive with all of my series. Many blessings to you.